Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Mark Causey here from Black Cat Comics in rockin Milpitas. Every Wednesday is New Comic Day and I like to give you some great reasons to get down to your local comic shop and pick up something fun to read. This week is packed with lots of fun stuff. Gotta start with the DC guys because this is your latest issue of Batman, number 64, the biggest book in comics, one of the best books in comics. This will begin the crossover with The Flash. This is part one of The Price. I know this one's already on your list. Flash is probably also already on your list. This book never needs much help. But I always like to start with this because Tom King is super awesome and everybody should be reading Batman these days. And if you're one of the 3 people who isn't, this is the issue you got to pick up and grab next week's Flash 64. Good stuff. Justice League, one of the other biggest and best books in comics. Been loving this title, been loving the Jim Chung art. Cool to see Legion of Doom and the Justice League teaming up and all that good stuff. Again, this one's probably already on your list, but that's just an awesome cover, so I had to show you that one. Green Lantern number 4. Can't say enough about this title either. Grant Morrison, Liam Sharp, 2 of the best talents in comics together on one of the great classic characters of comics. Good to see Hal Jordan kind of in a back to basics mode out there being space cop, keeping the galaxy safe for the rest of us. Good fun stuff. Grab that reprint of issue number 1. Catch up to this week's issue. Really, really fun stuff. Classic sci-fi. Great stories. Great art. Love that book. Female Furies number 1. Can't say enough about Big Barda. If you loved Mr. Miracle, the 12-issue mini last year, or if you just love the classic New Gods stuff like I do, you got to pick this book up. Everybody loves Big Barda. Great to see her back in the title. Awesome stuff there. Green Arrow, also one of the better books that DC has going on these days. If you haven't been following Green Arrow, now's a good time to catch up with him and Black Canary. Harley Quinn, another book that's probably on your list. Another book that's been setting comics on fire. Last issue totally sold out. This one will probably totally sell out, so hope that one's already on your list too. Cool cover there. Deathstroke, down there in Arkham Asylum. This one might be flying under your radar, but the folks reading this book are really, really digging it. So grab that Rebirth first volume trade paperback and see what all the buzz is about. Adventures of the Super Sons. It's your only super book for the week. Everybody loving Damian. And Young Justice, your other young heroes of the DCU book. This is issue number 2. Still got a couple copies of number 1 if you get here fast. Curse of the Brimstone. It's your New Age of Heroes books. Been talking a lot about the New Age of Heroes stuff like this one, like Silencer and Sideways, the Terrifics, all that good stuff. These books have been really, really selling well. People that are reading them are really digging it, so check that out. And again, see what the buzz is about. United States vs. Murder, Inc. is your Bendis book of the week, your Jinx World book of the week, along with Cover and Scarlet and Pearl and all the other things that Bendis does besides the super books. And The Dreaming is your Vertigo Sandman Universe book of the week. That one and Books of Magic seem to be exploding issue after issue. Fun stuff. Everybody should have Vertigo books on their list. Great week for the Marvel guys. I've been telling you guys what an awesome time it is to be an X fan. This is Uncanny X-Men number 11. It's this big old chunky supersized guy. This is the first issue of the new story arc following the events of the annual last week, the big events of number 10. You can pick up the Black Cat pack of 1 through 10. Pretty sure the annual's all sold out, so you're going to have to wait for a reprint of that one if you missed it. But just grab this week's number 11. It's the new part 1. See what all the hubbub's about. Like I say, it's been a great time to be an X fan. Great to see Uncanny X-Men back in action. My man Cyclops back at the forefront of the X-verse. Good stuff. And Age of X-Men, Marvelous X-Men is the first of the, well, I guess the second, counting the one-shot from last week. Last week kicked off this whole Age of X-Men thing, again, that spins out of Uncanny number 10. There's going to be a whole mess of these little mini-series rolling out. Like I say, good time to be an X-fan. Like X-23, another book I sell out of issue after issue after issue. If you're any kind of Wolverine fan or all-new Wolverine fan, grab that first trade paperback and catch up to the recent issue because this book's also been a lot of fun. And Wolverine the Long Night, number 2. The second issue of the previously online-only comic, because now that he's back, you guys can't get enough of the crazy Canuck. My favorite title, The Avengers. This one has been red hot lately. If you've been following the Avengers, well, I've always been following the Avengers. Since the weekly No Surrender stuff and then into the new series. It's just been a whole lot of fun. Some of the biggest and best characters Marvel's got, all teaming up, taking on the big bad guys. Love me some Avengers. This is what this book should always be. I like what they're doing in Justice League these days. As Guardians of the Galaxy. It's your Space Heroes book of the week. Love me some this one because I love the Destroyer. This book has also been a lot of fun. Also might be flying under a lot of people's radar, but grab the Black Cat pack of issues 1 through 5 and then grab this one, number 6, along with the first issue of the new Guardians of the Galaxy, of course. Champions, your millennial heroes of the week. This is another red hot popular title with all the young heroes teaming up. Good stuff. Immortal Hulk number 13. I cannot say enough about this book. I've been pushing it from the very beginning. It has just exploded in recent issues, selling out issue after issue after issue, going to reprint. Grab the first trade paperback, grab the Black Cat pack for the second volume, or just grab this latest issue. It is a little bit back to basics. It's a little bit horror title with the Hulk. I don't know, just can't say enough about it. Really, really awesome new take on the title. Grab some Immortal Hulk. It will not disappoint. Tony Stark Iron Man is your Iron Man book of the week. Fun stuff there. And Daredevil gets a new number 1. This is another book I can't stop talking about. Been talking up Daredevil for years and years. It's been one of the best books Marvel's done for as long as I can remember, going back to the time 100 years ago when I was a kid. Frank Miller, Brian Michael Bendis, Ed Brubaker, on and on and on. Some of the best talent in comics. You can read more about this one in our newsletter. If for some reason you've never read Daredevil, grab this issue and see what I'm always talking about, because they always do a great job with that book. Deadpool, with his little heart ripped out, is your Valentine's book of the week, because everybody loves Deadpool. And for some reason you guys like guys in red suits. Everybody's got Daredevil and Deadpool on their list. Old Man Quill, because guys like me love books about old men, because, you know, we need people to relate to too. You've had Old Man Logan, you've had Old Man Hawkeye, now we got Old Man Quill. If you're a Guardians fan, like everybody seems to be these days, gonna want to check that one out. Star Wars. Been talking up the awesome job Marvel does with all of their Star Wars books. I know you're all reading Darth Vader. Most of you are probably reading this one too, but if you're not, you should definitely get up on this. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, it's just great classic science fiction, great stories, great art. Conan the Barbarian back at Marvel. This is issue number 2. There's a reprint, or issue 3. There's reprints for 1 and 2 out this week. If for some reason you weren't there that day and you missed them, it's great to see the Barbarian back at Marvel Comics. Also fun to see them sort of branching out genre-wise like this one. And with Gunhawks, if you're like my man Marcus, you love some Gunhawks. If you're not 100 years old like me, you might not even know what Gunhawks is. But Marvel has a long history of classic westerns, and this is one of them. Really great to see it back in action. Fun stuff. Pretty small week, but a great week for all the other guys. You know I'm always talking up some BPRD, some Hellboy, some Mike Mignola. Never miss an opportunity to talk up Mike's awesome genre fusion. It's crime noir, it's horror, it's superhero, it's everything you want in comics. BPRD is super awesome. Mystery Science Theater is another Dark Horse book that's super awesome. Just as hilarious in the comics as it is on the show. It's a great week for the Image guys too. Some Walking Dead. Anytime there's a new issue of Walking Dead, I'm always encouraging you guys to catch up on your graphic novels and pick up the periodicals. Comics are always more fun in periodical. Those dramatic cliffhanger endings are super awesome. So, like I say, I'm always trying to convince you trade folks to pick up Walking Dead in the periodicals. Prodigy from Mark Miller. Another one of the big Image books these days. Everything from Mark Miller is a big deal. And Vindication is your first issue, gotta have it, Image book of the week. Because there's always a first issue, gotta have it, Image book of the week. And speaking of first issues, Red Sonja gets a new number 1 from Dynamite Comics. If you listen to the podcast, if you watch this video, you know I'm always talking up Dynamite. I love the great job they do with their licensed stuff and, well, everything else. They do a fantastic job with Red Sonja. If you're picking up Conan for Marvel this week, you got to pick up the new Red Sonja from Dynamite if you love some barbarian action. Great stories, great art. And Battlestar Galactica is your other Dynamite book of the week because, well, what could possibly be more different than Red Sonja and Battlestar Galactica? And yet Dynamite does them both awesomely. Great stuff. G.I. Joe, Real American Hero. It's one of your IDW books. And G.I. Joe, Sierra Muerte, pardon my horrible white guy Spanish, is your other G.I. Joe IDW book of the week. Nothing more classic than G.I. Joe. And IDW does a great job with all that stuff. Speaking of nothing more classic, this is Archie number 702. Again, if you listen to the podcast, if you watch this video, you know I'm always talking up the amazing job that Archie's doing these days with their standard line of stuff, with their horror line of stuff. This one's written by Nick Spencer, the guy who's doing Amazing Spider-Man, which is totally on fire right now. If you've never read Archie before, now's your time. If you're a longtime fan of Archie like I am, then this is just blowing your mind these days. That one, and your last issue of Archie 1941 by my all-time favorite guy, Mark Waid. If you don't know too much about this one, you want to pick up all 5 issues, grab that Black Cat pack, because Mark Waid and Archie are just awesome. Robotech, your Titan book of the week, because you guys love giant robots. And Doctor Who, the 13th Doctor, your other Titan book of the week, because you love some Doctor Who. Pretty small week for the all-ages stuff. All I've got for you is Marvel Action Avengers, because Marvel has teamed up with IDW to do their line of all-ages books. There's this one, there's a Spider-Man one, there's a Black Panther one rolling out. Always telling you guys that all the different publishers have a ton of great all-ages books, and everybody should have an all-ages book on their list, either for the young reader in your life or for just something a little more simple and fun than we tend to get out of the mainstream stuff. Lots and lots of great books this week, so check those shipping lists. Get down to your shop, pick up something super awesome. Want to mention that the East Bay Comic Con is this weekend. I know Concord is a little far from here in rockin' Milpitas, but it's a great show, lots of great vendors, lots of great books. Get up there, check it out, have lots of fun. You know, we're always encouraging you to get out and support your local shows. That's all we got for you for this week. You can check us out at black-cat-comics.com, where you can check out the especially cool Shopify store. You can check us out at Facebook, check out the YouTube channel, check out the podcast at soundcloud.com. Just get on down here to the good old brick and mortar in rockin' Milpitas. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.